Hey, I'm Daria. Are you looking to add a stylish pair of shorts to your wardrobe? In this video tutorial, I will show you how to sew shorts using a Muse Paperbag pants pattern. This pattern includes an options for shorts. Hope you have seen my video about sewing paperback style pants. I showed there the simplest techniques for sewing pants, but now I will show you how I finish the edges with bias binding for an extra special touch. You can use these finishing techniques for sewing pants too. I want to make a little note that I made these shorts a while ago and I have gained a little bit of weight since then. So now the shorts are just a little bit tight around my fix. If you choose the right size, the leg will look a little bit looser. I'm assembling the pattern. You can find the pattern for both shorts and pants in the first link in the description below this video. And look how cute the bright paper pieces look. Using colorful paper sheets adds a little fun to the process. For the shorts, I'm using cotton denim fabric with 1% of elastane. This is no slop, higher twist, low yarn count, synthetic indigo ring denim fabric. I learned from this book. The denim manual has inspired me to sew something from the denim and made me so confident in it. You will know everything about jeans and denim fabric in depth, how it's made and how it was invented. A great book. Press the fabric and cut the pieces. A little hack about how to cut small pieces like this belt loop piece. I measure the width of the piece using the paper piece, then draw lines and cut along them. The piece is much more accurately cut this way. Don't forget about pocket pieces. And then make all the manipulations with the front pieces as we have made with pants, like cutting the fly on the right front piece 2.3 cm from the edge and transferring all the notches and pleat lines and ironing on the strip of interfacing on the four sides of the fly and the pocket openings, and making large hand basting stitches along the pleat lines and the center lines to guide through the process. We start sewing from the pockets. In this video, I want to dwell on things that aren't covered in the video about sewing pants, but do not dwell on repetitive moments. Please watch the previous pants video as well if you haven't. So I just stitched the pocket facing piece with the lower pocket back piece, and stitch the upper pocket back piece to the front pant piece, just like in pants. But I don't understitch the upper pocket back because I want to make a top stitching along the pocket opening. So press the upper pocket back so that the pocket back isn't visible from the right side, turning the unfinished corners out. I help myself with perpendicular markings to make a top stitching with a thick thread. I set the stitch length to 4 mm and try on a scrap piece. When inserting a thicker thread, probably you should set the tension, including the lower bobbin, by rotating this tiny screw a little bit. This thread and the lower bobbin shouldn't be like a pendulum when you shake it. It means you should release the tension by rotating the screw counterclockwise. If you release it too much, the bobbin will just fall, which isn't right as well. The right tension is when the bobbin stays in place if you just hold on to the thread, but jumps a little bit down only when you shake it, similarly to a yo-yo toy. Make a top stitching 6 or 7 mm away from the pocket opening when you have figured out the best settings for your thread. Press and continue assembling. Stitch the top section of the pocket facing to the front piece, stopping right at the pocket opening. Make it from the front piece, just from the point where the top stitching starts. Press this section of the seam towards the center, and this is what you should achieve. Stitch the lower and the upper pocket backs right sides together. As I want to finish the edges with a bias binding, let's cut it first. Make it at 45 degrees to the fabric weave. This is the bias tape maker. This is important to cut a strip 2 times wider than written on the tool. Insert the strip in the bias tape maker, pull it and press the fabric you just pulled through. And here it is. Easy, isn't it? Now pre-fold it in half very accurately and press. If you aren't experienced enough, you can fold it with a 1 mm overlap on one side so that the stitch will surely catch the wider side. For me, folding in half works okay. I switched the thread and the tension to the regular one. Here's how I finished the pocket edge. I just place the edge right next to the binding inner fold line, cover it and stitch 1 mm from the binding edge. Intuitively, I place the edge so that the lower side of binding is a tiny bit wider. I make it in short sections, especially on the rounded areas of the edge. Press the pocket back soundly and press the bias finishing well. I've decided to trim this annoying contrasting corner. Matching the notches, stitch the pocket facing to the pants front as a side seam. Stitch the back darts and press them in sections, above and under the waist. Stitch the back and front pieces together at the side seams and inner leg seams. When stitching the side seams, make sure the top stitching starts next to the side seam. I finished the seam edges with an overlocker. The length of my strips won't be enough to finish the whole crotch edge, so I assemble 2 pieces and make it on bias as well. Press the seam open and trim the unnecessary corners. And start finishing the edge of the crotch and the fly on the left leg. Because I've pressed the binding accurately in half, the lower side of the bias is always sketched. Go very slow on the section where the rounded edge of the fly starts. The seam on the binding appeared right on the hardest rounded part, but looks totally fine. For the right leg, finish the edge with the bias binding along the crotch, but not the fly. Just finish the fly edge with an overlocker. Press the edging well. Turn one leg inside out and place the other leg inside of it. Match the fly hand-basted center lines. Measure 23.5 cm from the top edge of the fly. This is where the zipper will start. Stitch the crotch seam twice. Press the back section of the crotch seam open. Fold the left side of the fly along the hand-basted center front line and press toward the inside of the pants. You can see how the fly will look in the finished way if you will match the both hand-basted center lines. Before finishing the fly, let's assemble the facing. Press the seams open and do it in sections, the same at the back darts. Make the bottom edge smooth on the seams and finish it with bias binding. So beautiful! Press the finishing well. Let's install a zipper. Make a marking 1.5 cm from the top edge. Flip the zipper facing its back and mesh the start of the zipper teeth with the marking. Using the zipper foot or positioning the needle close to the zipper teeth, stitch the zipper tape down. I make a stitch line from one middle stop to another. Press the right side of the fly. Measure the hand base to center markings and pin. I'm inserting pins right next to the fold. Now it's clear where the left zipper tape should be stitched to the fly. From the wrong side, pin or hand base the left zipper tape to the inner layer of the left zipper fly only. Unpin the center and unfold the left fly. Open the zipper and stitch the left fly zipper tape down. Here's how it should look. Fold the fly cover piece in half lengthwise and stitch around the edge and the top edge. Trim the corner and trim around the seam allowance to 3 mm. Turn inside out and press. Finish the row along edge with bias binding, working from the side that will face the wrong side of the pants. I have tried different ways, and I've concluded that to stitch the binding and then just fold the ends works the best. Here is how it looks. The wrong side won't be visible anyway. Here I have tried to finish the ends first, but didn't like it at the end. You can try both ways. In the original pants, we have attached the facing right sides together to the fly. Here I have such gorgeous bias finishing, and I don't want to hide it. So I will attach the facing differently. Mark 2 cm from the edge and place the left fly edge next to this line. I stitch next to the bias binding. For the right side, stitch the facing piece right sides together as usual. I use a zipper foot for it. Stitch the facing piece to the top of the pants, right sides together along the top edge. I trim the darts and finish seam allowances to avoid unnecessary bulk. Trim the corners and turn the facing inside out. Understitch the facing piece, start and finish as close to the corners as possible. Fold the facing to the inside of the pants and press along the top edge and the fly section. I love it! I should attach the hangers, which I made from a bias strip as well. Fold them in half and stitch the loops to the facing side seams from the wrong side using a short stitch length. Use chalk or a marking pen to mark the fly top stitching line 3 cm from the center front seam. Continue this line along the bottom curve of the fly piece, making sure to avoid a zipper stop bottom. I switched the thread to the zigzag one and sewed the top stitching line starting from the crotch. I finish on the top edge and leave thread tails to make a knot instead of back stitches, which would look unnecessarily rough here. Press and hear how it looks from the wrong side, but I will cover everything with a cover piece. I just place it to the right side of the fly a few millimeters from the top edge and just top stitch it through all the layers with a thinner thread. Here's how it all looks. Pin the cover to the fly and make a few back stitches on the curved top stitching section, making sure you get the fly cover piece. I will decide to redo this with then zigzag stitches later. Match the seams and the darts on the facing and the pants and make a few back stitches in every seam to secure the facing. Instead of hand basting the facing down to the pants in the pleat section, I just stitch it on directly, making the stitches like inside the pleats, and taking the pleat direction in consideration, so the stitch lines won't be visible when the pleats are done. Matching the hand-basted pleat lines, pin and sew the pleats from the wrong side. I help myself with marking a line from one transformed point to another. The hand-basted lines should perfectly match. Press the pleats. Here's my domestic denim, and I decided to add some zigzag touches like jeans usually have. So I have figured out the settings for a pretty dense zigzag stitch you can see on the screen. And I want to stitch on the fly cover with it. Here's how the top stitching looks now. And I've decided to make the same with the pocket openings. Finish one long edge of the belt loop piece with an overlocker working from the right side. I have to fold the raw edge over 6 mm toward the wrong side and press. Here's a tip to make it easier. Mark a double amount here, 12 mm, from the edge and fold the piece to this mark line. You can press precisely every, even the tiniest fold with this tip. Fold the finished edge over. I pre-press the loop piece fully because I want to top stitch it from the right side, because the secret thread looks better if the top stitching is done from the right side. Stitch the belt loop 2 mm from the both edges, making sure you get the folded overlocked edge. Press the loop piece and cut into 9 sections as marked on the bottom piece. Measure and mark the belt loop placement 5 cm from the top edge and more 5 cm from the marking. Fold over 5 mm toward the wrong side on each end of the loop piece. Place the ends next to the chalk markings and top stitch each end. On the belt piece, fold the bow's long edges over 1 cm towards the wrong side and press. Fold the belt in half lengthwise with the right side inside and stitch along the short belt ends. Trim the corners. The belt is sewn as it was in the original pants tutorial, matching the pre-folded edges and top stitching the belt. But here I leave thread tails to make a knot instead of thick back stitches. To make it, you should have all 4 threads appear on one side. Finish the hem with top stitching. Fold the bottom of the leg over 1 cm and press. Then, mark 6 cm from the folded edge and fold the bottom to the marked line one more time and press. Just make a top stitching 1 mm away from the fold, starting on the inside of the legs, so the back stitching won't be so conspicuous from the right side. That's all. Hope this video was useful. If so, leave a comment and a like to encourage me to make more useful videos. I would love to see your makes on Instagram or TikTok with the hashtag Muse Paperbag Pants, both for shorts and pants. Thank you for watching.